All right, welcome back everyone. So anyways, from the last video that you guys saw, if you recall, I mentioned that I was going to be painting all the aluminum rails for my Husky toolbox. So the video is not doing this any justice because this is actually in person a much deeper and vibrant orange. And right here, it kind of looks like an off yellowish orange. But anyways, I ended up doing this thing twice because there was a few things that were described in the spray cans that didn't necessarily apply to the setup that I was trying to do. So let me see if I can find one of them. And okay, so if you can see, there's a little bit of alligator crackling right there. And the reason that happened was I sanded all of these rails down and I used 320 grit sandpaper. And you pretty much want to scuff up the original paint that comes with it. And then you're going to get yourself a primer. The ones that I got were Rust-Oleum, and I got their dark green or forest green self-etching primer. You're going to get one can, and you're going to lightly prime all of them. One can's enough to do it. You don't want to like cake the whole thing in there. You want it to have a nice, even, somewhat speckled and translucent look to it. And then you're going to let that cure for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the environment. Now, then you're going to get yourself a white paint that you're going to utilize for it. And hold on, let me see if I can grab this one. So anyways, this is the one that I got, was the Rust-Oleum painters, and this is the paint and primer 2-in-1 ultra matte. So things to keep in mind is that this is a great one personally. However, the instructions that they give you here don't apply to this setup. So when you use this one, again, you're going to do 2 to 3 coats depending on how many rails you have and how long they are. I ended up doing 3 coats total, but whenever I did that, I was waiting my 10 minutes per coat as the can requested. But because it's a little warmer in the summer, 5 minutes was actually more than enough time to do the coats. Now, whenever I did that, the white came out still fine, even waiting the 10 minutes. But I ended up having to sand everything down because in the can it says that once you're done with all the coats, to actually grab your color that you want to use for your main setup and to spray it on after you let this paint sit for 10 to 15 minutes. But again, that applies to everything except the aluminum rails. So when I ended up doing that, it ended up doing alligator cracking all on every single one of these. So I ended up stopping the whole process. And what you actually have to do is prime everything. Like I said, the primer, the self-etching primer, sorry, is going to be totally fine. Do that process, let everything get a nice little even coat. Wait, let's say 10 to 15 minutes. Then do your white coats on top of that. But once you do the white coat, stop right there. Don't do anything. Leave it alone for 24 hours. Not 6 hours, not 10, not 12, 24 hours. Trust me. Just leave it alone for 24 hours. And then once that's done, get yourself a microfiber cloth with some damp water and then wipe everything down after 24 hours. That way you can get whatever little leftover paint, dirt, or residues linger in the top. After that, grab whatever base color you want. With this one, I went with orange. And then do a light coat again, very light coat, one pass. And then wait 5 minutes, do a second coat, 5 minutes, do a third coat. And that's about as far as you want to go. Now, this is not a fourth coat that I'm going to tell you to do, but whenever you do a third coat, wait about 3 minutes or so. And then whenever I was spray painting, I was kind of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I would hit it from the other side. That way both sides were even. But on that, as I'm going to say fourth coat, even though it's not, what you're going to do is just from the top down. Just go back and forth from the top down once. That way you get a nice little clean setup on that curve right there of the lip. Because if you don't do that, then it's going to be a little bit more exposed for that under layer, and you're gonna have a little bit of the white coming through. So just do, also keep in mind that it says to do like 8 to 10 inches, but do it at about 6 inches because it will dry off faster, being the fact that this is going to be a, let me grab this can. I got the fluorescent. So this paint's obviously going to react a little different than what normal orange paint would be. So it's gonna have that little translucent look to it. So you wanna hit it a little more. closer to it than you would otherwise. It'll dry as it travels through the air, and you'll get like a peachy fuzzy like layer on top of it. But anyways, like I said, that fourth layer, even though it's not really fourth, just hit it directly from the top, back and forth twice, 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 and then you'll get a nice even coating all around it. And this is what they're going to look like. So right now I just finished painting this. I'm gonna let it cure for 24 hours, and then I'm going to do a matte clear enamel coating, because you don't want it super glossy. You want a matte one. That way you actually have some nice depth to the orange, and you want to have that light be able to reflect better from it. But anyways, next video, whenever I upload this is going to be like the explanation that I gave. But the next one, it'll be how it looks on the toolbox with the clear coat and everything actually on there to show you what it looks like against the contrast of the army green toolbox that I got. All right, everyone. So I finally finished doing everything that I needed to do with the toolbox. So this is the items that you're going to need if you want to accomplish something similar to me. The only thing that's going to be different is obviously the color that you choose, but you only need one can of the self-etching primer, and I got this one. What color is this one? I think this is like their dark green. I'm trying to see if I can find the color. Anyways, well, this is the one that I got. It was either the dark green or this is the gray one. I forget, but it doesn't matter because this is just a self-etching one. And like I mentioned in the earlier video that I took earlier today, is you only need one of these. It needs to be a pretty light coating on there, nothing too extensive. And then you're gonna let it flash cure for like 10 to 15 minutes. Now, when that is done, you're going to get yourself two of these cans, and you're going to essentially cover everything with this white base coat. Now, when you do this one, like I mentioned in the other video, you're going to need to actually get give yourself some time. So you're going to get two of these. Again, do a very light pass. You're not going to cover the whole thing. Essentially, you're just trying to lay somewhat of a sticky foundation for it. So very light pass, nothing crazy. And then you're gonna go a second pass a little heavier, trying to cover it up. And then your third coat, try not to like get too close to where you create like uh, when where it gets runny. I forget the terminology, but anyways, so you're gonna want to do that. And your third pass is going to be a little heavier, obviously. And then, like I mentioned before, fourth pass, instead of like just spraying back and forth on the faces of the rails, you're going to spray across, and you're just going to go 1 2 1 2, and that's it. And make sure that you get those curvatures where the rails go. And then you're going to get yourself 3 cans of whatever color you choose. Keep in mind that I went with fluorescent because I wanted the color to stand out and pop and not be so bland. So you're going to get 3 of these cans. But remember, when you do this white, wait 24 hours. That way it completely dries and you know uh, evaporates all the chemical inside it. If you try to do it sooner than that, you're going to get crackling, and it's going to create fissures and just the alligator cracking is essentially what you're going to get out of that. So 3 of these cans after you let this cure for 24 hours. Then on this one, same process. You're gonna do it and you're gonna let it cure for 24 hours. So 2-day process here, okay? And then on this one, you're going to do it after the 24-hour, and then you either need 1 or 2, um, depending on how many rails you have. I only needed 1 because I've got 15. So this one, it takes 3. So just do the math, and essentially 5 rails per can are going to be done here. Now, this is not the same as that because this is just essentially your baseline, not the permanent color. So 3 of these, and then 1 or 2 of these, depending on how many rails you have. And on this one, again, a very light coat at the initial one. Let it cure for 5 minutes, and then do a second coat, and then let it cure for 5 minutes, and then do your heavier third coat. And then on your, again, what I would refer to as your fourth one, you're just going to hit the top of those rails where the curvature is going to be. Um, and that's pretty much it. So you need 1, 2, 3, and then potentially 2 of these ones. All in all, I think I paid about $90 for the entire setup, and then obviously the time that you invest into it. I believe you can take it to a shop if you want, and they'll powder coat it and do the whole thing for you for like $200, maybe a little more, depending on what their rate charge is going to be. But anyways, that's pretty much the process for the whole setup. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you everything, what it looked like before with the bare toolbox with no rails, and then what it looks like with all the rails. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little DIY and little slight modification video, and I'll see you guys next time, and enjoy the new setup.